Hey, everybody. I'm Tish Hicks from the VO Dojo in Burbank, California. This is our monthly free webinar called Ask the Sensei. We are joined by our techno sensei, the one and only Dan Lenard. And our guest senseis today are Ryan Ricks and Brittany Cox from Next Level Voice Demos, demo producers that we love to work with. So if you are just getting on the call, there's a poll up, and if you could let us know where you're at on your journey, that's really helpful for us to be able to calibrate our responses. If you can put in the chat where you're calling from so we get a sense of where everyone's at. And most importantly, since it is a question and answer webinar, your questions will be the fuel of the hour that we have together. So there is a folder that says Q&A, and that's where we'll start taking questions. Dan is only here till 10:30, so if you have tech questions, kind of ask them, and we'll get those answered as much as we can. So why don't you guys take a quick minute and introduce yourselves. Thank you all for being here. And let's, Dan, why don't you start?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm an expert on home studios, and if you need help with your home studio, I'm the guy to talk to.
He's amazing.
He knows a lot of
things.
Yeah. Cool. And Brittany and Ryan, can you introduce yourselves?
Go for it. You want me to do it?
Yeah.
So this is my wife, Brittany. I'm Ryan, and I'm a composer and audio engineer, and Brittany is a professional voiceover actor, and we produce demos. That's our thing. We've been doing it for, that's our thing, short and sweet. Been doing it for 5 years. We started doing it in Seattle, and now do it in Los Angeles. So yeah, excited for your question.
All right. Well, let's get this party started. It looks like we've got a great group assembled. Yes, look at that. That's great. So 2 questions so far. Let us begin. Margaret asks, what should a Brit actor be having on their reel to attract American CDs, casting directors? So
should we jump in?
Everybody.
Let's do it. So that's really great. Congratulations that you're trying to break into that American market. What I would do is if you're looking at if you're wanting to like be competitive in the LA market specifically, go to talent agents that are located in Los Angeles, or New York, the big guys like Atlas, Vox, tons. There's a million. Listen to some of their demos, their talents voiceover demos, because you're going to notice that they look for things very different, I would assume, than demos in London or Europe, wherever your market is. I would also highly encourage you, if you can do an American accent, put a lot of that on your demo, on your specific American casting director demo, because that's what they're going to look for. They want people who sound American and who can also do an amazing British accent, which I'm assuming you do, and have that more as a color of your demo. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. Yeah.
And I would add, and if you don't do American accent, then package yourself as like, boom, if you need anything British, I can do that. One thing that I have noted as an American who books British things, is to be really super aware of the different energies that are required in the British market and the American market. I'll tell a quick story as the street cleaner comes by. Hold on one second. Hold for street cleaner. There we go. Sorry about that. I went in for an audition that said Authentic Brits to my agency. And the lobby was full of authentic Brits. And I went in and said to the booth director, there's authentic Brits. And he said, yeah, they don't book anything. And I was like, grr. And he said, yeah, they don't understand the American energy. So you have the accent, but you may or may not tune into what the energy is for the American market. For example, if you listen to the difference between straight on BBC promotions and BBC America promotions, right? The BBC ones are like, well, that was lovely. And coming up next week is something we think you'd really enjoy. My sister really liked it, and you should watch it as well. And then the American thing is like, see the Tudors. They're naked. They're on, right? So just understanding that it's not only about the accent, but also understanding the different energies of the markets, and having that on your demo, that you have an understanding of that. Can you thoughts on that, Dan?
Well, I didn't quite hear the end of that, what you were saying, but yeah, if you're a foreigner and you can't be an American, don't be an American. I think it's pretty important to just be who you are and go with your strengths on stuff. So, not being able to do a very good British accent as well as British people can do American accents. Although and ask any British person, you Americans don't know what you're doing. I'm not sure what that's all about.
And then, what else? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was done. This is not an area that I excel in. So,
and then, just in general, to have a range, a rainbow, a variety of all the facets of what you can bring with your voice, just as you would on any demo, obviously.
Absolutely. And show lots of contrast.
Yeah.
For sure. And as if you were going to send a demo to an American casting director, send a commercial demo. That should be that's what I would totally recommend, because that'll 90% of the time, that's what they're going to look for.
Good. Excellent. Well, hopefully that is helpful, Margaret. Let us know if you have other questions. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll down. And everybody, please do type in your questions here. We've got 4, but there's lots more of us. So Charles asks, how can we win auditions on voices123.com? And is there a better choice than voice123.com? Yes. Yes, Dan Lenard.
This is so incredibly complex. Mm-hmm. Be better than everybody else. There's no trick. There's no secret sauce. There's no formula for doing this. It's knowing your voice. It's knowing what you're good at. It's looking at the specs. And if it says Mongolian accent and you don't know what a Mongolian accent is, don't do it. Mm-hmm. There's a number of people out there that saying, "Oh, I have a system for winning at Voice 1, 2, 3," or something like that. The system is knowing who you are, knowing what you're good at, and submitting based on that, and having a good cover letter, and having good fair rates, and really understanding the genre in which you're auditioning for, and not just throwing them your commercial demo and stuff. Because remember, the majority of stuff that you're going to find in Voice 1, 2, 3 isn't commercial stuff. It's e-learning and corporate narration and things along those lines. Mm-hmm. So if you're going in there looking for commercial work, you're not going to the right place. I mean, occasionally there'll be a good one that comes through there, but then there's a question of where is that audition really coming from? And it's a little bit more complex than that. But the real key to success on Voice 1, 2, 3 is be there consistently, know who you are, and use all the different stuff that they have there as good practice for all of these different genres where all the work is. Because commercial work is, it's like this amount of what is available in the voiceover business. It's all of this industrial stuff that is really where there is the majority of work. And if you're trying to get into commercial stuff, it's not easy, but it can be done, and you got to practice and be really good at it.
And I think inherent in what Dan was just saying is taking a mindset of maybe not how to win the ultimately we all want to win the audition. I like to at the dojo we talk about being the chosen one rather than being a winner, because I think internally, psychologically, if you think you're a winner when you get the job, then inherently there's some implication that you're a loser when you don't get the job. And I think the more you can not have that as your internal framework, the better. So just a little switch of phraseology is helpful there. But also inherent what Dan is saying is understanding what the client needs. So it's not about winning an audition, it's about serving the client. So how are you, your skills and your demos allowing a client to go, that's exactly what I need. Thank you. So that would be another way to think about it. And then the consistency and understanding the game and knowing where you fit.
And on top of all that, make sure when you're submitting these auditions that they are high quality auditions. Think of it like you are sending in, almost a finished product. It should, the better your audition sounds quality wise, like no extra breaths and your room sounds good. All of those things add up and will make your audition stand out even more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've heard some statistics that there's a massive, like 70 or 80% of auditions that get dismissed because they're not high enough. Like they're not audition quality. So
absolutely.
So of course, the first things being the first thing is, as Dan always says, have a good read, like be able to deliver in terms of what you're bringing, and then make sure the quality is there as well. Yeah, and then to understand that there is complexity in every way that you're approaching getting work. So it isn't as Dan was saying, it isn't just do this. It's diving in and understanding and asking questions like you are. So this is great. And is there a better choice than voice123.com? I mean, I think if you're going to choose to do pay to play, it is of the honorable and better choices of doing pay to play. And also, in terms of running a business, guys, sometimes I hear people say, "Oh gosh, it's I paid all that money." Like to join a pay to play is not an insignificant amount of money, but it's not that much money in the grand scheme of are you running a business and how much money are you going to make, right? So if you pay $500 for a year of access, that's a business expense, and you should be making $500 back at least, and being able to figure that out. The thing about pay-to-plays is understanding how much time they take to make X amount of money, and that's another business thing that you have to take into account. Yes. So in terms of Voice123 being a good choice, it's a fine choice, and there are other options that I wouldn't say that about. Let's just put it.
Very diplomatic.
That's expertly put there.
Great. Good. Let's move on. Let's see if there's any tech questions.
There's one here on a TLM 103.
Okay, you want to grab that one now?
Do it.
Yeah, and I answered privately, but someone was asking if it was okay if someone was asking about if they should get a Neumann TLM 107 if it's at a good price. Well, first off, there is no TLM 107. It's amazing. People read these things in Facebook. Hey, there's this great microphone. You got to try it. It's going to make you sound great. Anyway, it's probably a TLM 103 or a 102, and if you can get one used at a good price, yeah, it can be really great. The thing is two things about microphones. Number one, It's not the mic that gets you work. And there is no microphone out there. There is no piece of equipment out there in any way, shape, or form that will change the way you perform copy. So I think too many people obsess about this. Too many people become gearheads. Gearheads don't get work because they're gearheads. They get work because they're good at what they do and they understand how to interpret copy. And if you have an expensive microphone like a TLM 103, even used, they're great microphones, but it has to be used in an environment that is useful, or that is acoustically good. It doesn't let a lot of there's not a lot of sound coming in from the outside, and there's no reflection. It will pick up ants marching in your backyard. So you have to be. You really don't want the most sensitive microphone in your home studio unless you're really in a good acoustical environment.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Yeah. Good. And then, and then there's always where are you at on your journey, and how does it fit your budget, right? Like, what is your budget? Buy to the best of your ability and your budget. If the deal is that you can get a really high-end mic and you have enough money to create the proper acoustic situation so that it will actually deliver, then absolutely go for it. But if you don't, then get the best you can while you can, and trust that everything will keep on going, and you can continue that. Yeah. Any other thoughts there? Pretty complete.
I think so. Yeah.
Right. Good. Let's see. Leo asks, got it.
Leo, hi!
Leo!
Congratulations!
Hey, sending me out pretty regularly, but nothing signed. I'm assuming that means you haven't booked anything yet, right? Would it be regular for me to get with others as well? The more sending me out, the better chances. Yeah, Leo is based in New York, so I guess a couple of follow-up questions, Leo, and I'll scroll down here to see where your answers are. Oh, yeah, there's lots of questions here. Yeah, so I guess the question is, if you have a good New York agent, I would say that's your anchor in that market, and then look for other agents to have relationships with in other markets.
Yep.
So that would be, and then yes, the way the world works now, the more people that you have believing in you, rooting for you, offering you opportunities, the better. And then as you start gathering them, then you create your own prioritization of who you're doing business with and how. That's my take. How about you guys?
And on top of that, that is fantastic that they're sending you out regularly. Don't be upset if you haven't booked yet, because this business, especially in big markets, are all about trust. So since you've been sending in these auditions regularly with these casting directors, they're going to keep calling you in, because you don't know if you've made the top 10 of their list, the top 5. You might have been considered for the job and just didn't quite book. So the fact that they keep auditioning you is great. It's just a matter of time.
It's all about consistency.
Absolutely.
Just stay in it.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Any thoughts, Dan? You've worked in both the LA market and the East Coast market.
Well, I'm working with a lot of independent agents. I'm not with an exclusive agency here in LA. Mm-hmm. So I'm not the greatest expert on this sort of thing, but if you getting an agent is really kind of a hard thing to do. You've got to be able to be making money. You've got to show them that you can make them money. They're not out there searching for talent that they can try and develop unless they know that this person is really making money for them. They're not there as a social service agency. They're trying to make money. They're trying to be a business, and their business is providing the best talent for their clients who are looking for talent. And if you're new at it, and you found an agent, I think it's important that you stay in touch with your agent. Don't nag them, but, tell them that, hey, this is the kind of stuff I want to do. Remember me, as the song went in Coco, to submit me or think about me when you get something from a client. Help me make money for you, I think is the best way to think about that.
Sure.
Yeah. And then always with, if you have one agent or 50 agents, it's about relationship and how do you do anything that makes you not just an email or not just a submission. So not to be obsequious with gifts or anything like that, but just like you would to a new friend. What if you were to do something nice? Or what if you just show gratitude or something, doing nice for them. Say thank you so much for let them know that you appreciate them, and anything that you can do to get to know them and for them to get to know you as a human, not just a submission, right? That's how you build your long-term, as we say at the dojo, successful, sustained career, right? Yeah. So, yay, Leo, good job.
Congratulations.
We've got a couple more minutes with you. So let's scroll down and see. Bev looks like she has kind of a pretty important question. Can you make sure Bev's okay? Bev just having had a week where my computer was on medically induced coma because my water bottle spilled into it in my bag. I totally I'm like, oh, Dan, please help her.
Let's see. This is when you get out your credit card. If you got the blue screen of death, usually that indicates a hard drive failure of some sort, or that your system has your operating system has become corrupted in some way. In which case, chances are you're not going to be able to handle it yourself if you're not the most technically adept person. So that's when you take it to the store. If it's a Mac, well, a Mac would be it would be the white screen of death, not the blue screen of death. Blue screen of death is with a PC. If it's a PC, that might be a matter of getting a new hard drive or reformatting your hard drive, and good luck getting everything off of there. That's why it's so important to always back up everything on a daily basis on the cloud somewhere. It's like my son is, he's always losing stuff. Oh, my hard drive crashed. Did you back it up? No. How many times have I told you to back it up? It's with a computer, it's just something you got to do. Don't take anything for granted.
And what is your system for daily backup, Dan?
My system for daily backup is it automatically ups to the cloud and to Google Drive and to an external drive. I ain't taking any chances.
So you do cloud, Google, and external.
Right. I figure one of them's got to work eventually. If one fails, something's going to work.
That's great. How about you guys? What's your take on
we use a blend as well. I use Dropbox for all of my project-based work, and then we use we just use Time Machine with an external hard drive to do the system stuff, and then we have
multiple hard drives.
Yeah, so it's just a good thing. Always, at least in two places, always.
Yeah, and do you do it last thing at night or while you're sleeping, or how do you as you go?
I usually do it. Yeah, I usually do it at the end of the workday. Like it just depends on what it is. But generally, that's kind of my closing down for the evening kind of routine. It's like, okay, time to spin this down and throw this back up here, and just make sure just double check that everything has been up to date, and then it's dinner time after that.
And how about you, Dan? Does yours just automatically do it?
Yeah, it does. Well, the cloud certainly does it automatically. Time Machine does it, but then again, that's a Mac thing, which is another thing that there's always this argument between PC and Mac. When it comes to recording audio, you use the system that works best for you, that you're most familiar with. But saying that, if you have a Mac, they're a lot easier to fix. Generally, if there's an issue, there are easy workarounds. With a PC, the workaround is find somebody who knows what the heck is going on in Windows 10 and then working their way back and trying to figure it out. So if you're in voiceover and you're really setting up a home studio, best to have using a Mac OS to do what you do. And there'll be people out there that'll say, "Oh, no, PC, I hate Apple for what they do." And it's like, fine, whatever.
It can work either way.
It can work, but there's so many more variables, and Windows 10 has been an absolute nightmare for people because it's been shutting down peripherals and making drivers a lot harder to work with. And so when you use a Mac, you plug it in and it works. And that's the bottom line on it. Okay, I got time for maybe one or two more tech questions. So there's one here from Leo Goodman.
Leo just got a question answered, but if you can answer it
quickly, he's looking for recommendations on small soundproofing. Don't have a room to set up an actual studio. Well, if you have a closet, that usually is the best place to be, because I know a lot of people making a good living here in LA next to their pants, shoes, and underwear. So it's really a good place to be. If you've got a closet, you don't necessarily have to be able to walk into it. But if you have a walk-in closet with lots of clothes hanging in it, that's usually pretty good. One, it isolates you from the exterior, especially if you have an interior closet. And two, clothes are by far the best sound-absorbing and diffusing material that's out there.
And
that simplifies things a lot.
And if not, I think Leo lives in New York and has a baby. So
well, that's not an easy. That's a more complicated thing. That takes a little bit of thought and looking at what you do have, and because if you're in an apartment in New York, that's a real tough nut to crack. You either need to build an entirely a sound booth, or buy one, or find one used. Otherwise, it's going to be a nightmare. And I'll add to that: don't rely on technology to remove those sounds. You want to do everything you can physically to eliminate background noise and room reflection.
And Dan, I know you have to go, but before you go, can you tell people like Leo? It sounds like checking in with Dan and seeing what he can do in terms of your specific setup might be a good thing. Can you tell people how to keep in touch with you, Dan? And
that makes it easy. You can go to homevoiceoverstudio.com and you can contact me there, and we can discuss further what it is you need to do.
And you work with people all over, just because you're here and there.
All over, from Alexandria, Cairo to Sydney and whatever. So no problem at all.
Excellent. And let's see. So yeah, if you didn't have a chance to get your question answered, feel free to touch base with Dan. And we're here the first Wednesday of every month. So come back, and then also Ryan is a audio guy too, so we might be able to circle back and
you can tag team some stuff.
Yeah, we
You're on, and and I'll and forward me the rest of these questions, and I can follow up with people as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Great to see you, Tish. Ryan and Brittany, always a pleasure. Let's do coffee soon.
Yeah,
yes, please.
We'll email you.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, Bev, I hope that was helpful. We kind of got into sort of the next layer of question, but good luck with everything. It really is a nightmare. I really felt like my arm was off this week. It's my computer.
So, Tish, I'm thinking we could combine Trent and Jerome's question a little bit about commercial demos.
Yeah, and yes, okay, let's do it. Yeah.
Do you want to start us off?
You got it, girl.
Okay, so Trent is asking, and Jerome, but Trent is asking, will not having a commercial demo limit me, scrolled down, limit me substantially when looking for an agent? If I have a good character and audiobook demo, what other demo should I create? And then Jerome said, so if commercial work is so slight, why is the commercial demo the most important? So, the long answer, or the short answer is the big money is in commercial work. It's for the fewer jobs. So if you get one national commercial, that could be $500,000 for a couple of hours of your time. Is the very short, condensed answer. So that's why a commercial demo is very important.
Well, and also I think when Dan said that commercial work is so slight, I think he was using it as a metaphor for saying that there are lots of other ways to make money as a voiceover artist other than just commercial work. Audiobooks being one of them, animation being another, video game, narration, corporate work. So I think, Jerome, to answer your question specifically, that's more of where Dan was coming from, less from a perspective of like there is not a lot of commercial work available, because there is a butt ton of commercial work available. And sure. Trent, a commercial demo is generally thought of as your baseline offering. So an audiobook is considered a specialty thing. A character or animation demo is considered a specialty thing. Your commercial demo is considered your kind of all-in package. It's like, for sure, at my core as an artist, this is who I am and this is what I'm bringing to the table. So to answer your question, yes, you are limited without having a commercial representation of yourself out there as a demo. But if you're having a ton of success in audiobooks and with your character demo, do you have to make one? It just depends on what your goals are. Mm-hmm.
And it also depends on your region, where you live and where you're working. If you don't have an agent, 90% of the time they're going to request, unless you are doing Disney and all that stuff, they're going to want a commercial demo, because that's where they're going to make a lot of their money on top of it. And and I know for animation, it's so small and it's so competitive that if you're not already in the group, so to speak, it's going to be easier for you to break in, and an agent is going to want to take a chance on you more with a commercial demo.
Yeah. And I mean, generally speaking, I think if you were to think of it in terms of, pools of work available, commercial work is the widest and deepest pool, so it's generally an easier in, to really start working. And it's an opportunity to start getting the snowball going in that regard. And then generally, like, the more specialty stuff requires more of an investment, more of a fine-tuning approach in terms of your performance and what is offered on your demo when it comes to booking video game work, when it comes to booking animation stuff. Just because the community is so much smaller and the pool is so much smaller, that it takes that extra, bang to get through the door. So that's generally how we think about it. So I think, I hope that answers your
and I think Tish
questions.
Has something.
And Tish has some stuff to add on there.
So yes. I like to think of the way we approach it here is the skills that you need as a voiceover performer to deliver what is required to put together a really good competitive commercial demo are the foundations for every other genre. So if you can do that and have the confidence and clarity and understanding of yourself in the market that reflects in the commercial demo, that is part of that's why it's usually first. And then from the business standpoint that Brittany was talking about, wait, let me back up one more second. The other thing to take into consideration is what Ryan was saying. Where are you and what do you want to do? So if you are not the best at commercials, is that because you don't want to do them? Well, that's a whole other ball of wax, right? If you don't do them, if you're making money and finding success doing the things in the genres that are working for you, there's there's lots of audiobook people who just do audiobooks and they have fantastic, amazing careers. There's a lot of people who just do narration. So that it's all completely valid, and it depends on what you want to do and how it serves you and your life. In terms of the biggest scope of things, I think everybody as a performer now needs more than ever to diversify their income portfolios in a very succinct way. So if you're just starting out, to build a commercial demo and a narration demo, which is usually what we start out with at the dojo, then you have these two tools, and then each one of you is going to have different things that will be your interest and your talent, where your skills lie. That would be the next best thing for you. So that's something to keep in mind. And then in the business part, if you're looking at it, once again, flip it from who's buying, right? So if you're an agent, and if you think of an agent as building a baseball team, right? Do you want the player who can hit every time and field and is a great part of building team morale? That could be a great team captain. Yeah. Or you could just have a guy who just comes in to do the left-handed pinch hitting thing, right? So not that it's bad, because you can not that any of it is bad, but just how can you serve in the most opportunities to make money for yourself and for the team that's supporting you. So those are so it's in general, how can you be the best that you can be at the things that you want to do? So hopefully, and if you're not very good at something, then if you want to do it, then figure out how to continue getting better at it, because we're all continually getting better at it. 25 years in, I'm continually getting better. So yeah, and if it's not something you want to do, don't do it. As I say, lovingly at the dojo, nobody cares if you do this or not. It's fine. It's totally good. Like, not that I don't care. Obviously, I do, or won't be here. But yeah, so hopefully
it's all a choice. It's all a choice.
Yeah, and and I love the clarification on. Well, if there's not commercial work, why would you do that? Good. Yes. Let's see.
We've got a handful of questions regarding length of demos and what should be included in terms of number of spots, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Should we go down that road a little bit?
Yeah, let's take care of those.
Cool. So let's see. There's a handful.
There's a bunch of you asked.
all scattered in here. So let's see. So the trend now, and I want to emphasize trend now, because just like in any professional arena, things are always evolving and needs are changing, and therefore the presentation of ideas and the representation of your work should evolve and change with the trends. And so the trends now, in terms of length of demos, speaking commercially for the moment, is 60 seconds. That is the target magic number there. If you float a little under or a little over, totally fine, but 60 seconds, like, that is the standard. That's just enough time for you to do the job that you need to accomplish, which is to present your voice in a variety of contexts, in a variety of energy levels and conversational styles, and all these things that go into crafting a really solid ear-catching demo. But 60 seconds is the goal. And there's a question about how many spots usually end up within that 60-second period of time. And the answer is it depends. But for us, we try and get anywhere from 8 to 12. And so that's kind of where we live. And the reason being is that the approach that we take with demos, and this is all categories of demos, not just commercial, but speaking to the commercial demo, is we want to customize that experience for that casting director as much as possible. and your demo, and this was another question about how somebody asked about the speed of a demo, like how fast should things move? Well, it depends on your personality.
And your brand.
And your brand. Brittany's demo, for example, she's a fast talker. She's very fiery and has a lot of zest. I've never used that word before. Zest, I guess, whatever. And so her demo reflects that in its speed. So her demo moves fast. And I don't think your demo is even 60 seconds. I think it comes in
53.
at 53. That sucker moves, and there's 8 or 10 in there. So, and that suits her brand, right? And so it's all part of this package deal.
Right. Like if you're more of a comforting and like slow talking, like I'm going to take care of you type of voice, and that's kind of your brand, your demo will move slower, and there will probably be fewer spots on there, because the whole point is I'm here to take care of you. I'm comforting you. So it's and that's the great thing about hiring producers is, and finding a producer that works for you, is really having them say, here's how we hear your voice. Here's how you will sell in this market. Let's work together to really showcase your strengths and what you're going to book right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the goal of all this, right, is for you to put food on the table with your voiceover experience, with your artistry, with your craft. And, our job as producers is to make sure that craft is being displayed and presented on brand, on trend, and is like incredibly competitive in whatever goals you have for yourself. Yep. Leo, for example, his goal was to get an agent in New York. So we crafted his demo to that region, and now he has an agent in New York. And that's the same with other talent that we've worked with in other markets. We have people in Texas and talent in Chicago, where those regions differ in their preferences and in what they like to hear on a demo. And so having the ability to cater that experience for them just makes it gives you that thing that puts you in a competitive place, so you can go and start booking work and doing the job.
And someone also asked about animation demos as well, like how fast should that move, and that as well. So there are 2 different types of animation demos that are kind of trending right now. You can have a speed reel, which is 30 seconds, no production, and it is all the voice extremes that you can do. So, we want all the different animation specifically. We want all the different types of characters you can do, all the crazy voices you can do in 30 seconds, no production. And it should move really quick. They all, or you could do a 60-second demo that has a more production, where it sounds like someone pulled it out of a animated show or movie or something, and that will move a little slower, but we still want those vocal extremes that you can do, like we want to hear all your range. We don't want to hear all the same voice with different backgrounds in that. We want to hear the very different things. Mm-hmm. But again, we don't want more than 60 seconds. That's
nobody can pay attention that long anymore.
No.
And I think inherent in your answer, Ryan, there's a question: if you're coming back after years away, is it worthwhile to use an old demo until you can create a new one, or the changes in demos now mean that your really old one just stands out as out of touch? It's an interesting question.
Yes. So
for the most part.
So I'm coming at this from a voice casting background. So my time when we were in Seattle, I was working with a post-production audio studio in their voice casting and music licensing departments specifically. And so my job on a daily basis was to take, 150, 200 auditions that were coming in, pare them down to say 15 or 20, and submit those as our best representation to the client of who fits their description for the job. And then they would choose their talent from that pool of 15 or 20, but it was my job to pare down the 200 auditions to the 20. And so if you think about coming from it from that context, which is how your demo is going to be That's how you're going to be engaged with in the market. Nobody says, oh, Jim, I would love to hear your demo. Let me sit down and listen to it. And nobody does that. Your demo is being heard in a context of rapid fire. Like, it is all about, like, I have a deadline. The client wants this particular sound. I've got 200 of these things to go through. Who's got the sound? And you just boom, 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 and go. And in that context, old styles of demos become very apparent. And things that are old, like old clients,
companies that are no longer
in business. Old styles of production, which means, like, saxophones used to be really cool, like, at a certain time. They're coming back, which I'm super happy with as a saxophone player. But there were a lot of commercials that, like, as soon as you hear certain things, certain musical gestures, certain delivery styles, as an artist, it's an immediate whoop, not that one, because
they want to look for casting wants to see what's new, what's next. How can we rebrand these people? How can we keep things current?
Right. So to answer your question, you have an old demo. Should you use it? I don't know. If it were me, I would probably look towards finding some newer things to do, especially if it depends on how long you've been away from the industry. If it's been over 5 years, I would say you probably...
Well, and a good way to test, we're doing a demo derby with Tish in a couple of weeks. And if you want to see how it holds up, join in for that. Yeah. And because we're going to be listening to demos and saying, here's what works, here's what doesn't. And so if you are really curious if it's going to hold up, submit to that.
Yeah.
And we'll listen.
I was just going to segue to that. Perfect segue. Yeah. On September 19th, Ryan, Brittany, and I are going to be doing what we call our demo listen derby. So basically, if you have a demo that you'd like to submit, you can go to bit.ly/demo-listen-derby. Let me write that in the chat as I'm speaking, and submit your demo. And basically what we're going to do is we'll listen down to a little section of each one, just like Ryan used to do on a day in the job, and then narrow that down to another group. And then we'll listen to the full demos of those, and then we'll choose one to talk through. So we did this in February, and it was a huge, huge, powerful experience. Like, just if you really want to understand what a demo needs to do and how decisions get made, it's like swipe left, swipe left, swipe left, swipe right. It's
very tendery.
It's very much.
It's a fantastic real life way to see where things are at. Obviously, like everything, it's three people's opinion, but that's what submitting is. So it really gives you a hands-on understanding of what it is and how it works. And you can listen for yourself. You can hear for yourself. So here, let me type this in. But yeah, we'd love to have you. That's September 19th, 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. And it is free. So be there. Listen.derby. Yeah, there we go. And I'll just put in the dates here too. September 19th, 9 to 11 a.m. PT. Okay. Cool. Yeah, this is great, important conversation. Let's see. What else have we got here?
And there was, should we talk about what goes into when you're looking for, because a couple of people are asking kind of when you're looking for demo producers, what should you expect? What should you, like, things to, yeah. And I feel like that'll answer some of those questions in there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, do you want to hit this?
I saw you, girl.
Okay. So, demo producers, in any market, doesn't matter which market you're in, there's a few things you should ask that are pretty standard. And so you go in knowledgeable and don't get taken advantage of. Because that pisses me off. Because, demos are expensive. And when you're spending the money, I love it when people go in knowledgeable so they have the tools so they don't get taken advantage of for things for people who are in the industry know to ask automatically. So when you're talking to a demo producer, the first thing you should do is listen to the demos on their page. Do their demos sound good? And you should listen to a bunch of different producers so you have different things to listen for.
Because you'll hear a lot of differences, and then you'll hear a lot of similarities between people where you kind of can start filtering out, like, oh, these guys seem to do more of this thing, and these people seem to do more of this thing, and you'll start to hear patterns and stuff.
Right. So do your research and really listen to the demos that are on their site. Because if your ear is not attracted to it, and if you aren't like, oh, that sounds really good, don't go with them, because they're not going to be the producers for you. Mm-hmm. When you find a couple of demo producers that you're like, oh yeah, these sound great, you should ask them, do they write copy, or do they pull copy? Or do they require that you bring your own copy? Typically now, we've talked about how the trends in the industry have changed. Most demo producers should be writing original copy for you. It is so important, because when you're in casting and you're listening to 200 demos back to back to back, and you start hearing the same copy over and over again, it breaks that illusion that you've done this commercial. The whole point of a demo is to have this illusion of, hey, I can do these commercials. I can sell these clients. These clients will hire me. And if I'm hearing the same copy, I'm like, oh, they went to a demo house. Forget that. It breaks that illusion. So to
rephrase it, if they're not writing copy for you and taking that time to invest in what your goals are,
you shouldn't invest.
Then caution.
Caution. Yes.
Because it's another one of those things where, just like Brittany was saying, in context of 200 demos per day, these things like stuff, the brain is a pattern recognition machine. And you would be surprised that in that context, how many patterns come up just in listening to various snippets of commercial demos. And then there's also animation demos and all these things. And so the copy is very important. And that is a crucial first step in getting the product that you want.
Right. And some people have asked, that just popped up, can you write your own? You absolutely can write your own. I highly recommend, though, if you do, work with a demo producer who can fine-tune it. Because there are things, I know, because when we make demos, I write all the copy for each of our clients. And there are things that I hear in demos, because I've listened to thousands of demos, and I know what will move a demo, what will sell your voice, and what is important for clients to hear. Mm-hmm. So if it, like, let's say you're like, oh, I want to write my own copy, I think these are great ideas, do that and take it to a producer, and then together you can fine tune it so it can become a collaboration. Because that's important as well. You should feel very confident in what you're doing, and it should be something that you are very proud of and is very much a part of you. But it is so important to find a producer who can kind of elevate, because they're the ones who have been listening to demos. They know what the trends are, and they know how to really make your voice and make that copy sparkle.
Yeah, when it's just like, yeah, go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, it's just very much like any other professional service that you would pay for. Yeah. Do you could fix the sink yourself. You totally could. You could go to Home Depot and you could find the thing, and you could YouTube it, and you could this and that, and you can do anything you want to do. Right. But is it worth the little extra money that it would be to have somebody who does this for a living, and that's their one very specific job, that could do that for you in 20 minutes and it's done and out the door? It really just depends. Again, it all comes back to you. It's you know,
right. And
are you really, you know?
That's really the thing that you're looking for in a producer is that someone who gets you, who understands the business, gets you. So you know, working with original scripts, you know for sure nobody else is going to do that. And if someone has a different process, what is the process, and how is it made unique to you, and how do you know that what it's going to be is you and not stamped, not rubber stamped. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is really great, guys, and I love, like, all the questions are coming in now. It's great. I've got a couple of minutes afterwards that I can type in some answers. Let's see. I do. Let's see. Bev's gonna go buy a computer.
Good luck.
Funny. Yeah, I think let's see if we can do one more question. I want to wrap up and talk about some stuff that's coming up. We've got the let me wrap up, and then we'll see if we have more time. So we talked about the Demo Listen Derby that's coming up. That's September 19th from 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. The place to sign up is in the chat. We'd love to see you all there. And no matter where you are, if you have an old demo, send it in. If you have some sort of demo, send it in. But even if you don't have your demo yet, be on the call, because understanding the process is going to be invaluable. Let's see what else. We do this the first Wednesday of every month with a different guest sensei, so getting different angles. And then the fall session for the dojo has just started. So if you are just starting out or coming back or want to refresh, we have a few seats left for the You Should Do voiceover, the 6-week virtual version starting at the end of September. We'll cover all the areas that you can be making money doing voiceover and what it really takes. And if you are further along on your journey, because it seems like, let's see, and if you've taken classes, this is a great place to recalibrate, re-anchor, and it will complement and supplement everything you've already done and move you forward. If you're already on your journey, if you haven't made your demo yet, we have our full year training program called From Mystery to Mastery, and it's designed to take you from I don't know to working pro. So wherever you are, we can meet you and take you the rest of the way. And if you're working pro, we have something called the Nth Degree, which is a weekly virtual workout accountability, focusing in with a group of like-minded committed souls to get what you need done in the next 3 months. And we also have the VO Dojo Pro Fight Club. This is so much stuff. It's all on the website. Pro Fight Club the season is starting up. We'll be starting with Sonia Gayborn, who is TV narration, TV reality producer, focusing on TV narration. So www.thevodojo.com is how you reach that. If you want to talk more with me, email me, tish@thevodojo.com, and we'll get a time to get you on my calendar. And Brittany and Ryan, how can people keep in touch with you guys?
Yeah, we posted a link to our website in the chat there. It's just nextlevelvoicedemos.com. And then, just if you have any other specific questions, or if we didn't get to your questions today, I also put my personal email in there. It's just Ryan, RYANK.Ricks, RICKS @gmail.com.
Yeah.
We love hearing from you, and we love answering questions, and we love doing these webinars. And so please do not hesitate if no question is too small or too big. And we're really good about responding. So we'll get back to you, really quickly when you ask. Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. It's 11 o'clock and 12 seconds. So thank you guys so much for being here. We're super looking forward to the Demo Listen Derby. And
hopefully we'll see you guys there.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Thanks so much. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.